Welcome to TRB Collectibles. My name's Tom and I will be your guide through this estate sale. As we head into the house, be sure to click that subscribe button so you never miss a future estate sale walkthrough. Let's get into it. Right off the bat, I find this Sheldon from Big Bang Theory as a Funko Pop on this top shelf of this bookcase. I know that they were widely produced and I've looked up Sheldon before, so there's really no value to him, but if you do find sealed Funko Pops in their box, be sure to always look them up. This was the first piece I actually found of Boy Scouts of America in this room, and then I found a ton more and all I had to do was look around. The first big piece that I saw that I would actually pick up was this vintage Boy Scout sash with the patches. You'd be very surprised as far as the individual patches are concerned, as they're highly collectible and people sought them out not only because it reminded them of their childhood, but people wanted to actively collect them as a child. Then this entire bin was also filled with tons of Boy Scouts of America patches and scarves and collectible mementos from get-togethers. And I was really intrigued. I kept digging and I kept finding more. Patches, mementos, you name it, that related to the Boy Scouts of America. It was a very unique and filled collection with very clean and cared for items. I was excited to look up each individual piece. Some were worth it, some were not. But this estate sale, it being day 2, thinking that there might be some kind of discount or work that could be done on if I were to buy the entirety of the lot. But it was a bit weird when I would go talk to the attendants and everything would be almost full priced, comparable to eBay, and that just kept me thinking. So I kept certain pieces until the end, where I went to go talk to the desk and see if they could run me a deal for these items. If you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll go over exactly what happened. So I noticed all these hats on the bathroom floor and I started to look through them. And I was very excited to see it was multiple brands, multiple teams, multiple things to look through, and they were all in quite decent condition. The one thing I didn't see is that sign that said $5 per hat unless priced. And it was day 2 of the sale, and they said they weren't going to budge on the hats. But if you take a look, there's still a lot left, even on day 2. When I saw this next room, I got very excited. There was electronics as far as the eye could see. They were literally everywhere. And I was really surprised to see them. Today is day 2, and usually by day 1, all of this stuff has usually been picked through. But for the most part, all of it was still here. So when I looked at a lot of the stuff to look it up, the price points were even comparable to eBay, but more so. So I could see why it was still here on day 2, and from what I understand from what they were telling me for day 2, is that they would work with people, but they would take a couple dollars off. But that's probably why all this stuff is still here on day 2. It's always great to see model trains at an estate sale, except on day 2 when the entire table is still here and probably all the trains that were here on day 1 are still here on day 2. Do you see the trend that has occurred throughout this sale? If not, here, let me fill you in. Model trains are highly collective, highly sought after, and usually on an estate sale, if they don't go within the first day, then there's something wrong. These model trains were priced to sell to an individual, not necessarily a reseller, but this entire collection is so massive that they priced each one individually. So to walk away with this, if you were really avid about this specific layout, then you would have gone ahead and bought it. But unfortunately for reselling, it just wasn't here in these models, unfortunately. And I did have to walk away here on day 2. I found some media, so I was hopeful in looking through all of it, but then I found out that all the television series that I was about to sort through were all $5 a piece, so I went ahead and I passed on that. And I found some DVDs, and there wasn't too many. Nothing that was really flippable. Found all the CDs that they had, and it was really classical music and holidays, which really aren't a genre that are gonna flip very well. So I left those behind too. So I went into this room noticing the Legos that were pre-built into their sets, and I thought maybe there's a little value in here to sell, but unfortunately there's not based on how they price the. One thing you should always look for, Thomas the Tank Engine, metal or wooden, as long as it's the authentic brand. And I got real excited when I saw these laid out like a store display. And then I went up close and I wanted to see how much they really wanted for each individual piece. And then even these loose figs, they wanted $50 for that. So then I knew that the rest of these were just going to be in the same fashion. And there's going to be no value in reselling them, but it's still neat to look because these are some of my favorite toys from my childhood. As we continue the trend, don't forget, it is day 2 of this sale. As a side note, how cool is this room? Right? Wait, let me smoke the bait on that. So you're probably wondering yourself, well, what items did you bring up to that desk to see if they could work a deal with you? Well, I had put everything that I wanted to keep, mostly the patches and the vintage sash with all the badges on it. I wanted to see if they could work me a deal for all of the patches that they had. They had over 100. I think they had close to something like 150 patches that I was interested in, and I brought up a manila envelope to the final desk where they do the checkout. And I had asked one of the attendants, well, I'm interested in the sash, and I'm interested in all these patches. And I also had 2 medallions that held the scarves up. So she goes, okay, let me go ahead and check the medallions that hold the scarves up, the little metal bracket. So she literally pulls out her eBay app and tries to take a scanned photo of it, and her next attendant looks over and she goes, oh, you can't use that for taking photos of the item, it won't work, it's only for barcodes. And me sitting there going, oh my. They are literally checking eBay to see what price they should charge me at the estate sale on day, do you remember what day we were on? Yeah, day 2. So she had to walk herself through. And she goes, well, what would you call this? I go ahead and type in Boy Scouts of America buckle or sash for scarf. Or metal piece for a scarf. And I'm literally walking her how to look it up on eBay. She goes, oh, it's $50, $60. So what if I ran you a deal and I would say $40 for just one? And I sat there in the back of my mind, of course, going, oh my gosh, everything that I currently have, I'm not going to be able to buy. And I'm probably going to walk away. So I asked her if she did check the sold listings, and she goes, well, what do you mean? I go, if you go to filter and click sold. She went to filter and she clicked sold, and she found that it was about, $15 plus shipping. She goes, well, let me go ahead and I'll charge you 10 per each. And she starts writing down the prices. And I go, no, that's okay. I'm gonna pass on those. She goes, are you sure? I go, yeah, I'm not necessarily buying them to use them. And she goes, oh, well, that's unfortunate. And she sets them aside. And I go, okay, I can see how this will go. Let's see how the patches will go. Hopefully that I can get a better deal than I did for these 2 items. So she starts looking up the individual patches, and I go, is there any way that I could work a deal for all of the patches? And she goes, oh, well, I can't make that decision. My boss has to make that decision. I go, sure, do you have your boss available? I'm happy to talk with them. Her boss comes over. She has a discussion with me. She goes, well, how many patches are here? And I go, I think it's about 135. So she counts out each individual patch. I go, it's your patches? You count them out. And it came out to like 136 patches. So I had counted them correctly. And she goes, well, we're charging $5 a piece. And she pulls out her calculator and she goes, well, there's 136 times 5. So you have $680. But for today, I can do $650. It's day 2. For these patches, I'm looking that I could probably squeak away with like $10 a patch if I'm lucky. The shipping's gonna be really inexpensive. At $3.19 at a 4-ounce rate. My profit's gonna be next to nothing, but also I'm gonna keep these patches for a very long time because there will be slow sellers based off of the patches that I did check. I said, is there anything else that you could do? Is there any other fee? She goes, I'm already giving you $30 off. And normally the prices are about $650 for all of these. That's a great deal. And I go, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take it. I go, do you do a discounted 3rd day? And she looks at me, she goes, well, it's really based on conversations that we have with people on day 3. We don't necessarily do a bulk discount. And I go, okay. She goes, so you're going to go ahead and take the patches? I go, unfortunately, I am not. And the person that's running the desk had to cross out patches because she auto-assumed I was going to buy them. To each their own. Perfectly fine. Unfortunately, I just really wasn't finding it at this sale. I wasn't winning, as you could clearly tell the entire day. I think they must have been a newer estate sale company. I had not seen them before. But then we come down to the Sash, and she did what she did. The first attendant did what she did before with the scarf holders. Is that she went on and she typed in Boy Scouts of America Sash with patches. And she's seeing prices for anywhere between $5 to $300 and $100 and $16, and she can't necessarily price it because at the end of the day, this is a vintage sash with patches from different years, and each patch means something else. So in a way, it's kind of confusing to her, but not necessarily to me, in that I know what I'm looking up and I know what I could sell it for, and I'm hopeful that I could probably profit $50 off this sash plus shipping. And she goes, what about $10? And I go, let's do $10. She goes, you'll get it? And I go, I sure will. Hey, I lucked out. I was so surprised that I thought the sash was going to be the thing that I immediately said no on, but the sash was the thing that I wound up walking away with, so I couldn't be happier. This house was truly something else as far as the pricing on it, even on day 2, but you're not always going to win with every single item that you're going to find in every estate sale company, but luckily I did find an item that I could easily pick up to resell, and that sash I should make a little bit of decent profit. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to click that like button below. If you had any questions or comments, please be sure to leave them down below. If you had a fantastic time, share this video with a friend, and be sure to click that subscribe button. As always, my name's Tom, and this is TRB Collectibles.